Hello and welcome to the Stuart Turner Monsoon seal replacement video. This video will guide you through the process of changing the seal and associated parts on a Monsoon pump. This guide applies to all of the Monsoon range, however depending on what model you have, a universal for example, there may be more parts to remove than on the standard pump that I have here. The first thing you'll need is a Stuart Turner service kit appropriate for your pump. This can be found and ordered on our website or by calling our pump assist team. The service kit I have here is for one end of a Monsoon pump, so if you have a twin-ended pump you will need two. The kit consists of all parts needed to service a pump and is applicable to all generations of Monsoon pump. It is worth bearing in mind that because of this there may be parts left over when you're finished that you don't need. Our aim with the service kit is to provide the user with all parts they will need. Even if they lose a bolt, we'll provide the spares in the kit. Now the first thing I've just done is to cut the reed switch tie and remove the reed switch. This then allows me to get to the flow switch body and inlet body screws. Your work area should be clean and dust free so that no contamination occurs when replacing the seal. Now that the screws are undone, I can remove the flow switch body. Now I can do the same for the inlet body. Remove the strainer from the top of the pump body with a pair of long nose pliers and then inspect and clean it to remove any build-up. Now we can remove the O-ring from both the flow switch body here and the inlet body on the table. Look inside the flow switch body and check that the magnet carrier is free to move up and down, that the magnet is still in place and that the carrier's three legs are okay. The free movement of this part up and down past the reed switch is vital to the pump's operation. The O-rings removed from the inlet and flow switch bodies can now be discarded. Now we can remove the pump body by undoing the 4 screws with a screwdriver. With the screws removed, if the pump body is stuck, a gentle tap with a soft mallet like this should be enough to free it. Check inside the pump body for any signs of excess wear or damage, and also that the O-ring seat here is free from any debris. Now remove the pump body O-ring. It's vital to change this O-ring every time the seal is changed in order to prevent leaks. The old O-ring can be discarded. Next we can remove the impeller by using 2 flathead screwdrivers to gently prise it off the shaft. Be careful if you are doing this, as any damage to the impeller will lead to wear and reduced performance of the pump. Check the impeller for any signs of excess wear and damage. Once the impeller is removed, pull out the woodruff key with a pair of pliers. The next job is to remove the mounting plate together with the seals. Use a flat-headed screwdriver to pop off the circlip, but be careful as there is a spring behind it, so cover it with your other hand like this to stop it flying off. Now carefully pull off the mounting plate together with the seals like this. The rotary seal with the spring will fall out, but the static seal will need to be pushed out of the mounting plate in a minute. Now check the mounting plate for any signs of excess wear or damage. The O-ring seat here should be free from any debris. Now we can push out the static seal with this tool that is supplied with the service kit. Looking at the mounting plate again, you should ensure that the seal seat here is free from any debris. If your pump has a leak, then there may be build up around the back of the mounting plate here, and this should be removed also. Next we can begin to reassemble the pump. The first thing to put back is the static seal into the mounting plate. To aid this, use a bit of water to help the seal locate. First off, the seal should be pushed in by hand like this. And then with the tool supplied in the service kit, firmly pushed home. The seal should be seated square in the mounting plate. This can be checked by looking at the back of the mounting plate and ensuring there are no gaps between the seal and the brass. If there are any gaps, then the seal could leak when the pump is reinstalled. The mounting plate can now be put back onto the pump. Ensure the mounting plate legs are clean and free from debris and place the mounting plate back onto the pump. The stripper plate should be facing towards the terminal box. Before installing the wetted rotary seal, it is a good idea to check that the shaft is free from any burrs or residue. If there is sign of either of these, a fine emery paper may be used to lightly remove them. Now the shaft is ready, we can install the rotary seal by pushing it onto the shaft by hand. Next, use the supplied tool to firmly but progressively push the seal home. Extra care must be taken when pushing the seal past the circlip groove to ensure that no damage occurs to the seal. Now we can install the seal spring retaining cap. Then the washer, and then with the spring compressed, use a pair of pliers to install the circlip to hold the seal in place. Here is a still of the circlip correctly installed. Now the seal assembly has been installed, the woodruff key can be reinserted into the shaft. If this is tough, then a pair of pliers may be used to press the woodruff back into the shaft. Now the impeller may be reinstalled. The number of dots corresponds to the size of the impeller, so please only use the impeller with the correct number of dots on for your pump. Ensure that when placing the impeller back onto the pump, that the dots are facing outwards and the woodruff key is not dislodged. It's worth noting that for the pump to work correctly, the impeller should be a sliding fit on the shaft. The new pump body O-ring can now be installed onto the mounting plate. And now the pump body itself, checking that the O-ring seat here is free from debris and that the stripper plate here lines up with the stripper plate on the mounting plate. Now reinstall the bolts for the pump body, first installing them by hand, and then with a screwdriver gradually tighten the bolts in the pattern shown until the torque shown on screen is reached. Tightening the bolts gradually in this way reduces the chances of pulling the pump body to one side, potentially seizing the pump. The clean strainer must now be installed into the inlet port of the pump body. With the strainer in place, a new O-ring can be placed into the inlet body. The inlet body can then be placed onto the pump body and located as shown. The brass clamps can then be placed over and screwed down. Be sure to screw the clamp down gradually as before on the pump body to the torque shown on screen. The same can now be done for the flow switch body. Ensuring that the magnet carrier is free to move, install the flow switch body as shown. Place the clamp over the top and insert the screws as before. And again, gradually screw the screws down until the torque shown on screen. Now all of the brasswork has been reassembled, the reed switch can be reinstalled. It's vital that the reed switch is installed into the recess on the flow switch body. If this is not the case, then the reed switch will not work properly. The final step is to cut the excess off the cable tie, and your Monsoon seal replacement is complete.